Welcome back to Conservative American Predictions. Today we're going to be taking a look at the final House race that has not been called out of the 2024 election cycle, as well as one other that was just called. However, it is still, a pretty large upset and remained uncalled for several weeks. Now, in the 2024 election cycle, just overall, there have been so many surprising things that have happened, so many shockers to many people, specifically me. For example, Trump winning the popular vote, New Jersey being a battleground state, stuff like that. But, there were a couple races out of California that were really, really interesting to watch, even though it took many, many weeks for them to be called. And two of those races are the 45th District and the 13th District, which we will now begin looking at the 45th District, in which there is now a projected winner. Derek Tran has unseated Michelle Steele, the incumbent congresswoman from the 45th District. Now, this is pretty surprising to me. I didn't see this happening. This was a seat that Steele had won by, I believe, around 4 points in 2022. However, this was because, it wasn't a presidential year. There wasn't that impact of a large, top of the ballot kind of thing, which, yeah, sure, there was the gubernatorial race, but it didn't have that large of an impact. And also, it was a closer gubernatorial race, meaning that, the House races probably were more easily able to win for Republicans because of that. Now, this is another upset because I personally expected Michelle Steele to win. I thought she would win by probably around, I think I had it about 1.5 percentage points. I knew there was a possibility Derek Tran would win. However, she is a pretty, popular, or at least somewhat popular congresswoman who has been reelected in harsh election years that in a Democratic-leaning district. This district, I believe, I'll check the PVI real quick, but in 2022, the exact percentage that she won by, she got 52.4% of the vote to her opponent's 47.6%. So she won by just under 5 points, 4.8%. And this is a fairly Democratic-leaning, I believe, heavily minority district, I believe particularly heavily Asian American. And if we check the 45th District, their PVI is D+2. Now, the PVI is, off a little bit. It kind of skews either way. It can be a little bit confusing. But if we take a look at some recent results in the statewide elections in the seat, let's start with, I suppose, 2016 for president. Hillary Clinton beat out Trump by about 5.4% in this seat. And then going to, let's just say let's go to 2020 then. Biden had 53.6% of the vote to Trump's 42.5%. So this was a Biden plus 11.1% victory. Now, if you go to 2022, again, the reason that, Michelle Steele was able to win was because Brian Dale won by 2 points on the gubernatorial side. On the senator election, Musser won by 1.4%. And in the senator special election, there was I don't know if this was, it says senator special for 2022. I don't know if this was, okay, yeah, it was the special, or no, it was the normal Senate race in 2022. Oh, okay, so California had the special and a normal Senate race in 2022. It was basically the same race as it was for the same seat, and Musser won by 1.6%. So, overall, it was a pretty Republican-friendly district in 2022, enough to the point where, she was able to win. Now, what's pretty surprising is if you check the presidential race out of California right now, it's about a just over 20-point win for Kamala Harris. Now, if you go to the gubernatorial race back in 2022, which, again, Dale won that congressional district, it was about a 19-point margin, about maybe 18.5, somewhere in there, for the Democrat Gavin Newsom. And, this was not, that isn't too far off from the margin we see right now. That's about 1.5% more Democratic friendly. So if you figure shifting that district 1.5 to the left, you would still have about a 0.5% margin of victory for Michelle Steele. And she went down by 0.2%. As you can see here, about 600 votes, 613 votes as of now. Now there might be some more votes unreported, but as you can see, it's mainly because of the Los Angeles County part that she lost by, because she carried the Orange County precinct. She won, that part of the county. She won it by 1.2%. She won it by about 3,500 votes, 3,600 votes. And now, out of the Los Angeles seat, Derek Tran won this one by about, it looks like, 4,200 votes. So, a very narrow victory for him because of the Los Angeles part of this district. If it would have had any more of Orange County, probably, and less of Los Angeles, it more than likely would have been a hold for Michelle Steele. However, she did end up losing, and this is a pretty bad loss for the Republican Party. This was a seat that I expected them to hold, even though I expected the Democrats to take control of the House. So this is definitely some, good news for the Democratic Party, that they might have a bright future in kind of South Central California. Maybe they'll be able to flip Calvert's seat in 2026. Maybe they'll be able to make Young Kim's seat closer, results to that effect. So definitely some good news for them. And, in 2024, or in 2026, my apologies, I believe that this seat probably will be even more Democratic leaning than it was this year. Probably about D+4 or so, now that, you do have a Democratic incumbent. Maybe Michelle Steele runs again, and, we'll see if she does. But she has actually conceded now. This is her official Twitter post. I'm not going to read it all, but if you want to pause the video and read it, or just pull it up on Twitter, feel free to. It continues for a bit, and she basically does concede. She does straight up concede, and she doesn't. I guess I should say she doesn't ever come out and say, congratulations, Derek Tran. I lost or whatever. But she does make it pretty clear that, this is over. She did lose. She basically said, to my volunteers, we would have never made it this far without your timeless efforts. And to the voters, thank you. I will never stop fighting for you. So she did lose. Very close election, but this is a Democratic flip, which does put the Democratic Party at 214 seats. Now, the Democrats do have potential now to get up to 215 seats as the last uncalled race, which was for a while led by John Duarte, the incumbent Republican, a very, very moderate Republican. It is now led by more moderate Democrat Adam Gray. So this seat is a repeat from 2022. It's a re-challenge. Adam Gray lost in I believe it was the second closest race, and he has re-challenged John Duarte. And from the looks of it, it will be the closest race of this year. And as of now, it looks like Gray is going to come out on top, giving Democrats a 215-seat minority, but still a very, very close minority. So basically, Republicans are only going to have more or less one vote, because you do have Matt Gaetz resign, so that's 219 seats for the Republicans, and if Democrats win this, it's 215. So 219 to 215 when Michael Waltz goes, because he's going to be part of Trump's cabinet. He's probably going to, by January, he's going to be gone probably. So more or less, that's 218 to 215, a very, very narrow majority. But Republicans do still have, I guess, a shot to win the seat, as it's about a 280 vote difference. However, it's looking unlikely. So, as you can see, the San Joaquin, I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing that wrong. Out of the San Joaquin County, you have Adam Gray up by 8%. He won it by about 1,000 votes. Strong performance there. Out of not going to try to pronounce that, but Adam Gray won it by about 6%. Strong performance. He won Merced County by 2%. And then out of the two counties that John Duarte has carried, he won Madera County by 14 points, and he won Fresno County by 16. So the closest county was Merced County, which is kind of between the more northern liberal part of the district and the more conservative southern part of the district, which is pretty interesting. Now, one thing I do want to point out, Trump actually won this district, even though it was a Biden plus 11 seat in 2020. Trump won this district, and it now looks like there's going to be another Democratic win in a seat that Trump won. And I find this pretty interesting because, Trump is pretty moderate on social issues, but Duarte is actually very liberal on social issues. He is a full backer of abortion rights. He's very liberal on other social issues, and that's maybe it's somewhat expected for a Republican out of a seat like this, but maybe he turned off the religious Catholic Latino population enough, which the seat does have a lot of that kind of group, to where it caused him to lose. Maybe there are enough Trump voters who didn't vote down ballot, and this has caused Duarte to lose. If that is the case, then Republicans might have to reevaluate, are we going to run super moderate or even somewhat liberal candidates in swing seats, or are we going to have to nominate, candidates who are, more common sense, somewhat moderate positions, but also not super liberal, because as you can see, that might have ended up costing Republicans the seat. Now, Gray is a fairly moderate Democrat as well. He's going to join the Blue Dog Caucus, or at least he probably will, as he was backed by the, I believe, the Blue Caucus PAC, or the Blue Caucus Fund, or whatever. So he probably will join the Blue Dog Caucus, which is good news for them, as their membership has been dwindling in recent years. And he will win re-election in 26 by probably a lean to likely margin, probably going on to serve for quite a few years, as even though Republicans will maybe even win the seat again in 28 on the presidential level, I think a more moderate Democrat is going to be able to probably establish himself somewhat well in this seat, as he'll be able to do well enough with liberal Republicans that Duarte did good enough with this year. He'll be able to do good with moderate Democrats. Progressive Democrats, I think, will be satisfied enough. And, Republicans are really going to have a talk about what kind of candidate they're nominating, especially in a seat like this. Anyways, I hope you did enjoy this video. If there are more votes coming out of here, I probably will do an update. When they finally call the race, I'll probably do an update. But I hope you did enjoy this video. Comment down below what your predictions are for the final margin of the seat, and if you think the Democrats will end up flipping it. Anyways, I'll see you guys next time.